What's up everyone, RyFX here. Today I'm going to show you the best settings for Twitch streaming using OBS. First you want to create a profile. I just called mine Twitch. And then next you want to go to your settings. And then go to encoding. And up here you should see 3 out of 4 encoders. One's in beta. You have the pretty much universal encoder X264. Pretty much any CPU should be able to use that. And then over here you have quick sync, which a lot of newer Intel CPUs are using. This one has a smaller CPU usage overall, but the only problem is a lot of people that I've heard have had the quality looks worse than X264 for a lot of people. Sometimes you have to put it at a higher bit rate in order to get the same quality as X264. So it's something you might want to consider if you're running a game on the same computer as your OBS here. Sometimes you kind of have to suffer the quality and get lower CPU usage in order to run the game properly, and so you don't have any hiccups with that game. So sometimes quick sync does become a better option for you. Then over next here, that's kind of messed up here, is NVIDIA NVENC. What happens here is that the encoder will run through your graphics card, and it will lower CPU usage like crazy, and you'll so you'll be using pretty much almost no CPU at all going that way. But if you have a game running through it, you might want to consider playing around between using X264 quick sync versus that, because as well as what I was saying here is that it could have an effect on your game. So you might want to play around with that. If you're running from a console, you're playing from a gaming console or another PC, then you definitely want to have this, so you have more CPU usage to have, say, multiple instances or multiple windows of OBS running. So yeah, I highly recommend that if you have it. And then here's the beta AMD VCE. This will allow you to use your AMD graphics card as an encoder. This is pretty much the same situation. If you have a console game, I highly recommend you have this checked, and you'll have way lower CPU usage to pretty much nothing using these settings, at least. So I highly recommend you have that check mark selected if you have that. And if you're, as I said again, if you're running the game on the same CPU or the same graphics card, you might want to consider between these settings. You might want to test it just to make sure you don't have any performance drop within your game. So be sure to check that out. Next is use constant bitrate. You want to have that checked. What this is doing is it's going well at a constant bitrate. It's not fluctuating at all, because in a video I showed before for local recording, it was going at a fluctuating or variable bitrate, just to create a smaller file size. So For this, Twitch doesn't like going from variable bit rates. That could cause buffering problems for your audience or whoever's watching you on your stream. So, as well as it could cause some problems on Twitch's server side, because since you're fluctuating so much, uh, it probably might cause some problems on their side. So definitely have this checked here. And then quality balance is blocked out for me. It's just says 10. But max bit rate, I have it set to 2000. I am not partnered with Twitch. So what kind of happens is when you're streaming to Twitch, the audience is pretty much downloading whatever you're uploading. So this is pretty much 2 megabits per second. That means they would have to pretty much have to download at 2 megabits per second. So yeah, because they don't have like if you're partnered with them, it has where you could choose between source, high, medium, and low quality settings. But if you're not partnered with them, you're pretty much stuck with whatever the source is, and it will go at that bit rate. So sometimes it could turn a lot of people away from your stream because you're streaming at a really high bit rate. So if you're just starting off, I suggest 2000 or maybe 2500. You could put it up to 3500 if you want to. Twitch is saying you can put it at the max if you want. But of course, if you kind of want to get it out there for almost everyone to watch, you might want to consider it at a lower bit rate. But once you get partnered, yeah, of course, go nuts. Go to 3500, which is the max bit rate for pretty much everyone. And then don't have custom buffer size checked. That's going to cause some buffering problems. It may actually have your bit rate look worse, and the quality of your stream look a lot worse. It maybe cause some buffering problems for your audience as well. And then audio encoding, I have it AAC. You can have it MP3 if you want. And then format 44.1 kilohertz. So then it doesn't take away too much from my video bit rate when it's getting streamed out there. So I have it at a lower setting here. If I were partnered, I'll probably put it at a higher format at 48. And then bit rate here, I put it at 160. You could put it lower than that as well. And then channel, of course, have it in stereo. Then broadcast settings, you want it in mode live stream. And then streaming service, of course, put it on Twitch. And then right here, you want to select whatever the closest server is to you. So be sure to have that. And then play path / stream key. You can get your stream key from your Twitch dashboard or account area. And then you just copy that and then put that in here. And then audio reconnect. This is pretty much all standard stuff. Audio reconnect timeout 5. And you could choose to have it automatically save stream to file. I have that unchecked because I have another instance or other window of OBS, which is taking care of my local recordings at the same time as I'm streaming. I'll show that in another video on how to do that. So if you want to just record from here, you could have that checked. And then and then record to whatever file path you have, and then go to video, and then you want to have it selected on the video adapter that your monitor is pulling from. So I have it pulling from my graphics card, so I have it at my AMD Radeon R9 290. And then base resolution, I have it to whatever my monitor is, which is 1920 by 1080, 16 by 9. So yeah, just set that to whatever resolution and aspect ratio that your monitor is. And then downscale resolution, since I'm running at 2000 bit rate, I had to put it at 720. If I were running at 35, I could probably put it at 1080, but still, that's kind of, that's still, the bit rate's still pretty low for 1080. So I really recommend, if you want, maybe 864 resolution. I know that's a weird one, but that's it does work out a little bit better since the bit rate's so freaking low. Then for filter, you want to add best detail, 36 samples. And then for frames per second, you want it at 30. Again, if you have a higher bit rate than 2000, or like if you have it at the 3000, I highly recommend it at 30. But if the game can run at 60, you could put it at 60. But usually you have to have it at a higher bit rate than 2000 in order to get 60. Same with, as I said, resolution. So I'm going to explain this a little bit better. So if I'm going to put it at that highest setting that I said, 864, this is probably as good as it's going to get, is 864, then best detail 36 samples, and 30 frames per second, even at going at the max bit rate of 3500. But if I want to go 60, it's best just to keep it 720 and then 60, like that. So everyone could take a look at your streams. I'm sure you could get it 1080. But it's just that bit rate's just really low. I'm not sure if it's really gonna pretty much transfer at that quality. You might have some problems even going at that. It just seems too high to me. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Audio. Just put it at whatever your speakers are. Whatever output audio you have. And then microphone, set it to whatever you have. I have a Blue Yeti Pro. It's my default monitor as well. Microphone. So I just have it set to default. And then push to talk delay. This is dependent on what delay you have on your capture card. My capture card doesn't have really any delay. I'm not sure why it's set to 5, but it needs to be set to 0. But yeah, I have no delay on my capture card. If you have like an Elgato, I think you have to put it at 1500 here. And then some people have certain settings for that. But anyways, let's move on. Then you have use multi-threaded optimizations. This basically means, as far as what it says on the OBS page, this just means if you have a multi-core processor. So if you have a single core processor, you can't use this at all. But if you have a dual core and up. Have this selected for sure. Then as far as processor priority class, I have it set to above normal. Um, if you have a game running on the same computer, you might want to put it on normal. So it's not, trying to suck up whatever processing power from that's required for your game. So yeah, I highly recommend normal. Unless you have a really beefy CPU, then maybe you could do above normal and high. It just depends, you know. But if you have a console, above normal and high, and if this is just running whatever's whatever you're streaming at the time, and that's only what your computer is being used for, then yeah, put it up to high and above normal. For scene buffering time, I just have it at 700. And then down here for x264 CPU present, I have it at very fast. This is really dependent on your CPU, what's going on. So it really dependent on that. It's on the recommended setting, which is very fast. Some of you may have, it'll say like at the bottom, high encoding settings or whatever. Consider turning it down or blah 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 at the bottom of your OBS. If you're seeing that, you might want to consider putting it down, which will be super fast or ultra fast for that. So yeah, you might want to consider that, because what's going on here is that the slower you go, the more CPU and the stronger CPU that you need for that. So yeah, encoding profile, I would just put it at main. You could put it at high if you want to. And keyframe interval, I have it set at 2. You can put it at 0 if you want. And then for UCFR, if you're not saving your recordings, just have that unchecked, so you're not using any CPU usage for that. But if you have automatically saved to file and keep recording to stream or whatever, you want to have that checked, because what's going to happen is that your recording might go into a variable frame rate, and what's going to happen is, once you have your editing program here, and then put your recording, say this one, which has it unchecked, and well, what do you know, it just reads it as an audio file. There's no video here at all. There's nothing there. So now when I put one that has it checked, which is it this one? I think it's this one. You'll see that the audio is there. Blah blah. The audio video is there. So yeah. So make sure if you're saving the recording, have that checked. If you don't have it, just have it unchecked. And that is pretty much it on how to for the best settings for Twitch, pretty much. Depending on your CPU, you might have to adjust these settings as far as the events goes, and your encoder. So be sure to test that out. I have a Core i5 4690K processor, and this is what I use. Even if you have the same processor, it may be different for you. So, be sure to kind of play around with the encoders, see what gives you less CPU usage, and overall, just uses just has more, just lets you have more free play on your computer. So, just kind of play around with it. This should work for most. Should be just fine. So, yeah, that is the best streaming settings for Twitch. This is what I use for my streams. So, yeah, and that's all I got. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye bye.
If you enjoyed that video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You have 5 seconds to comply. 4, 3, 2, 1.